This is the 2008 Hammer Wisconsin Championship Doubles at AMF Bolero in the Milwaukee suburbs. That, of course, is the center that has hosted many PBA Tour events through the years, including the USBC Masters a few times. Great, huge center, 72 lanes, has since been remodeled into one of the Bolero concept centers by AMF, by Bullmore. Haven't been down there to see that since it's been remodeled. I'm looking forward to it one of these days. This tournament was a lot of fun because not only did I get to bowl with my great buddy Steve Richter, so-called Satan as I nicknamed him long ago. Just put a goatee on him and you'll understand. But we got to bowl against some really close friends as well, including first match would be Dave Barris and Chad Moss, Milwaukee area guys we've been bowling against for seemingly forever. And next match was against Stephen, myself, one of our teammates, Gail Myers Jr., and Scott Helm. Very good match here, and I don't think the better team really won here, or at least not how it came down to at the end, as you'll see as you watch it. I don't want to give too much away, but it was kind of a wild ending. And then after you catch some of the junior part of the show, the youth part of the show, then we have the title match, and that, again, against a couple of friends from, in this case, Illinois. This tournament draws doubles teams from Wisconsin and Illinois. It's a really great feel annually every year. And in this case, the Illinois guys are my great buddy Greg Zika from years and years of bowling regionals together, teammate of Mike Nape, and then of course Mark Clark, really good bowler from the Chicago area who we also know real well. And we'll let you watch to see what happens in the title match. I won't give it away. It's pretty good tournament all in all. And like I said, this was about 10 years ago. About 20 pounds ago, probably 15 or 20 in my case, and still throwing 15 pounds. I was in, needless to say, a lot better shape, wrist and body at that point. And heck, I was only, 45 then, so it seems like a lifetime ago. And the ball I'm using there is a virtual gravity. This is probably one of the 5 favorite balls I've ever drilled, this specific one, not the virtual gravity itself. Definitely one of my all-time favorite models from Storm, but this particular one was one of maybe 3 or 4 virtual gravities I drilled over a few years. And this one had the pin up above the middle finger and a bit to the left. And then CG and Mass Bias kicked back to the right. Pretty weak pin for myself. Don't usually use those anymore because my rev rates dropped so much through the years. But boy, when I drilled that on that ball was absolutely fabulous for me. It allowed me to go very square to the lane, keep my angles real closed with what was a very strong ball at that time. And had a lot of success with it. The very first tournament I used it on, bowled the Iowa Open and won that bowling on the flat pattern. And that would have been a couple of weeks before the Wisconsin Championship Doubles that you see here. Last thing or two about this tournament, it's a great tournament that draws, dozens and dozens of great doubles teams from Illinois, mostly Illinois and Wisconsin. I haven't been able to bowl it as many times through the years as I would like. For many years, it's actually mentioned on the show, for many years, it was always when we were out in Reno or Hawaii and Texas before that, for the National Resident Pro Championship Tournament for PBA regional players. And obviously that was one I was not going to miss, being a paid-for chance to go to the Tournament of Champions. And then later years here, I've almost always had it. It's always been the same weekend as the Greater Iowa Bowling Association, Senior Scratch Bowling Association 50-50 doubles out in Waterloo, Iowa, at a great tournament that goes a whole weekend, and it's more about fun, and I mean a lot of money too, but about the fun of it. And when the conflict comes for a whole weekend like that versus one weekend, and being, once I turn to 50 especially, I'm going to favor going to a tournament where I can be the senior than trying to beat up on the kids here. But so this was one of the last hurrahs for myself and Steve Richter as doubles partners in what you'd call higher level competition. It was only a couple of years, 3 years after we'd won the USBC Open Championships doubles. So hope you enjoy this match. There's some pretty good action and some pretty well-known names here.
Friggles before the match began. He felt there was very little hold area left of target, which basically means if you're going to miss your mark, miss wide and see some recovery. Whereas if you're a board or so left of target, the ball may not hold pocket.
Yeah, Dave tried giving that one a run. I mean, one-game match, and you know if you mark, you're still down by a pin. You got to give that one a run right here. $3,000 on top today here at the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. Once again, thank Jeff Lesser at Hammer Bowling. Dave Bartlett from Ebonite and Hammer. You'll hear his golden tones a little later on with this special match we'll be bringing you during the Wisconsin Championship Doubles this year.
Let's see if Chad adjusts from the crossover. That's hard to explain, Phil. Quality shot, first of all. Knee deep in the pocket. Possible solid 7, 8, 9.
Yeah. I mean, it was the 9, 10 were almost the last two to fall.
And with such a low rev rate, he does that. I just don't know how he does it. Okay, Jeff on his good lane. In fact, his only lane. He trusts it. Ball came in a little late, but still caught the 10. And Jeff will definitely tell you the virtual gravity did all that. One of his, on his bio sheet, his favorite ball of all time ever made on oil. And I'll attest to the fact, doing the ball reviews for the Bowler's Journal magazine, that ball was our feature ball, and it is just a wonderful piece of equipment.
Yeah. No doubt. All right, let's see what kind of adjustment Steve makes here. He went through the nose last time for that 3-6.
Definitely might have bumped in a little bit with his feet. Oh! Everyone's favorite. A trip 4. Not common in today's game, Phil.
No,
you don't see many trip 4s.
Not many at all. And we'll be right back with the second half of this opening match of the Wisconsin Championship Doubles in just a moment. And we're back with the second half of the Wisconsin Championship Doubles, presented by Hammer Bowling. We've got Dave Barris up in the 6th frame. His team is trailing by 25 pins right now.
Dave appears to be using an Ultimate Inferno. Oh, that may be the only shot we see today wide of pocket.
Yeah. It looked like he was just fast out of his hand on the bottom, like he was just trying to help it just a hair after going high on this last shot. Try to get a little more speed on the shot.
Well, it could be. Again, the natural reaction to a high shot is to adjust and make sure you don't go back-to-back high shots.
1-2-4 should be a relatively easy conversion for him. He's going to hook at it. Think he's kind of surprised on the spare there, Joey?
Don't know. I mean, it's possibly went for the pocket. My, assumption is you go for the cross on that spare, as not to, chop it in a strange manner. But he may have been lining up to just go flush pocket again.
Well, Chad up on lane 69, and he's 3 for 3 so far, striking.
One being a cross. A little bit of loft.
And another trip 4, Joey.
Very high, solid pocket for Chad. He's happy. Everything is good.
Yep.
And you have to take what the lanes give you, because there are times the game is not quite as fair as we want it to be. And now Jeff has just been picture perfect every shot. You got it out. Good speed.
And another one.
Again, a little late on the 10 again, but again, I think he's pleased with that.
Yeah.
He knows he has a little swing area.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the difference between Joe average league bowler like me and these guys, is that they'll move to an area of the lane where they can make a mistake and carry, and know that if they make the slight release mistake.
Well, exactly. No bowler hits the same board shot after shot. These players on TV today are quality players where their speed is consistent, their release is very consistent shot to shot. All they need is a little 2 or 3 board area, and they're off to the races.
Exactly.
Steve definitely taking his time on this shot. He tripped a 4 last time, if you remember. Beautiful shot off his hand.
Wow.
And it just didn't recover. And again, he may have adjusted off that trip 4. And unfortunately, could be paying the price.
Yeah, right now, I mean, max score for Barris and Moss is 243. Even if he goes 3 out here, 242 would be their highest score. So I mean, right now it's a tight game.
Yeah, that could have been the shot that salted the match away, but instead it leaves the Barris Moss team back in the match. And he smartly takes 3.
Yep.
And again, count, as you know, can be very critical.
Oh, absolutely. Right now, like we said, final score right now could be 243, 242 if they run the
So their
sheets.
max score is 242, whereas the Moss Bears team's max score is 243, within 1 pin.
We've got the barn burner.
This is what we want. This is exciting TV, folks.
Dave looks like he makes that adjustment. It's still light on. Almost rolled everything out, though, Joe.
He got back to the pocket. He got back to the pocket. I think he may have been a little surprised with that result as well. He definitely caught good hand in that shot. And could be a costly double right there. I mean, that definitely knocks their max score down from 243 down 21 pins. So
nice and easy at the 5. No problem with it.
all over the 5. Now, Dave is the finish bowler. He will be the bowler up in the 10th.
Yep.
So I'm sure he'll go to school on that shot and make the necessary adjustment.
2 frames to go, and 21 pins is the difference right now for the Bears Moss team, down by 21.
Chad Moss using a Lev RG Morich, which is a strong, solid resin, low RG, so it revs up quick, as you can see.
Answered the check,
and yes, Chad just kind of pinchy squeezed it a little bit, left the target.
No.
And there is no hold on this pattern, according to Jeff Rickles.
Yeah, and I think from what we've seen so far, it's pretty much correct. If that ball starts left early, there's nothing stopping it to keep going. I mean, these shots that look like they'd be relatively maybe beak shots are runaway crossovers.
And again, the pattern is a modified chameleon pattern, I believe.
Yeah, and with here at AMF, they use their own AMF machines. Maybe a little bit different than a lot of Kegel machines people see running in their bowling stones, because this uses a pad to get oil on the lane, and it can't put as much oil down in a pattern as much as the Kegel or the Brunswick machines can.
Foundation frame, he got it wide, and it appeared as though he caught good hand, and it just didn't make the corner.
Yeah, the head pin went between the 4-7 and didn't touch either one.
Right, and that maintains a 20-pin lead for them. This is surmising he makes the spare, which he should. It appears as though Jeff is going for his spare ball. A good move, I believe. You don't want to hook away or hit a puddle of oil in the middle and not make it up. So he will go hard and direct right at the 4-7.
No problem. Gets them both with the ball.
All right.
Max score for Bears and Moss right now is 212, which means basically 10 pins and 10 pins for Steve Richter, any way you look at it.
So they could lock them out.
Exactly. Anyway, he gets 10 pins, whether it's strike or spare.
And again, his last shot on this lane was a 2-4-8-10. So will he move right? Will he soften the speed? Will he give it a little bit more hand? I'm sure he'll make some adjustment.
You know he's not going to give the head pin away on this shot. And he didn't.
That was a money shot right there.
Yeah, it was.
Steve on the Roto Grip staff for many years, using an SD73 8-cheater ball, a solid reactive resin with a .073 differential for the techies out there, which basically means the ball can flare with a good release about 8 inches, meaning he has room with that ball.
Yes, indeed. So
Spare ball right up the gut.
no problem there.
Who needs resin? Steve showing his versatility there using the Storm spare ball. In fact, I believe, well, it is his. That wasn't Jeff's. That is his own.
Yeah. So 232 if he gets a full ride on the last ball here. So Jeff and Steve are going to go on to face Scott Helm and Gail Myers in the next match for our semifinal here today.
And our defending champions do not repeat.
But second year in a row on the show, and this is not an easy tournament to get all the way through year to year.
Oh,
with
Phil,
the pinfalls.
how many doubles teams entered this year?
94 doubles teams.
94 of the better bowlers in the state of Wisconsin and Illinois, Northern Illinois, without a doubt.
And it's not like let's not get it, it's not like making the World Series a poker run where you're getting through 6,000 people. This is a quality field.
True.
I mean, there's nobody that's made it this far that got lucky.
And the payoff is just a little less than the World Series of Poker as well.
Yeah, instead of $9 million, we pay $3,000. So, well, we're gonna take a quick break here. We're gonna come back with our semifinal match. We'll have Jeff Rickles and Steve Richter against Scott Helm and Gail Myers in just a couple of minutes.
Great opening match.
Welcome to New Berlin Entertainment Center. We invite you to see New Berlin's exciting entertainment complex. Come and enroll on one of New Berlin Bowl's 28 state-of-the-art lanes. We can host your bowling party or company outing. Looking for good times and great food? Stop in to the New Berlin Ale House, open at 11 a.m. daily, with plenty of beverage variety and great food for you and your family, from pasta to sandwiches, pizza to steaks. Our roomy banquet facilities have plenty of parking and a helpful, friendly staff. Come see us soon at New Berlin Entertainment Center, where good food and fun is a brewin'.
What is their team name? Jeff, what's your team name officially?
Okay. And we're back for the second game here at the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. Gail Myers starting off on lane 69 for the Myers and Helm team, and a little high in that shot, Joey.
Again, opening shot, and last year, if you remember, 69 broke down much quicker than did 70, and I mean, we can't share that with the bowlers, but you and I remember that.
Yes, indeed.
Interesting setup today with the 4 players we have here. 3 of the 5 are teammates.
Yeah.
Naturally, Steve and Jeff, and Gail Myers.
Yeah. All
Turbo 2-1 out of Madison. One of the finer, if not finest, amateur 5-player teams in the nation.
Oh, absolutely. Mike Shady, former PBA national pro, who has national titles under his belt. Now lives in Pennsylvania, but he comes back and bowls with them at ABC Nationals every year. Mark McDowell, another phenomenal player, won the Tournament of Champions in 1992. So
McDowell living, I believe, just outside Madison. And,
indeed.
Just a quality team and a great team chemistry, and I'm sure they feed and learn off each other at every event.
And that's that's really crucial, especially when you get 3 games in an event, to prove how good you are. And they are constantly in the top 10 year after year after year in team all events. And that's just, you had a team that finished second one year in Albuquerque, Joey, and you know what it takes to get to that level.
It's an unbelievable experience. I mean, it's always fun to win or compete in a tournament, but to end up anytime top 10 in the nation when you have 10,000 or 16,000 teams, it's just an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, and the chemistry's got to be there for you to do it. You can't do it with 5 individual bowlers. Wow.
Steve trying to pick up the slack from his teammate's 9 spare, almost leaves a 7-9, Phil.
And he had that interesting carry the first game, too, where he almost left that 7-9-10. I mean, it's almost a similar ball right there.
Well, that was Chad Moss.
Oh, that's
Chad
right.
Moss almost left the 7-8-9. And again, that tells us the back ends are relatively clean. The ball has very little deflection when entering the pocket. So carry should be good, but these players put some hand in it.
Yes, indeed. Steve,
it's got a hook, and it
does.
This is our first look at Scotty Helm, one of the best players ever as a down and in player in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's got 10 state titles. I mean, he's you saw him a few weeks back on our first Wisconsin Best step ladder match. Had to go to 5 overtime frames against John Shallow, and he struck on every one of those 5 shots in a pretty demanding lane condition as well. So this condition, wow, another one goes high on him. Yeah. We may be seeing that transition like last year, Joey.
And again, it's early, but that is their opening shot. And then Jeff and Steve have a little feel for the lanes. And my guess is, your first shot on TV, you're bowling 2 of the top amateurs. You don't want to give up the pocket too much. You want to make sure you at least get to the 1-3, and what happens? You go beak.
Yep.
So I think they'll settle down and find something eventually.
No doubt. Well, it gives them 16 in the second for the team of Gail Myers and Scott Helm. Gail again up on lane 69 here at AMF Bolero.
Right, and they're only down 23, Phil.
It's
23 pins is nothing.
If you're going to open early. You string 3 in a row, you can get back in the match if your opponents are just marking. And that's how you start.
And that's Gail. That was Gail all during qualifying. I mean, just a nice loosey-goose swing, free and easy. It looks like he's using a storm gravity shift, and he's just sending it and bending it, letting the lane and ball do a lot of the work. Let's see if Jeff adjusts off that light 7-pin in frame 1. Good hand, dead flush. He definitely made some kind of an adjustment there, and was not going to leave a blower 7 on that shot.
Not at all. Well.
All right, Steve back up on the drier of the 2 lanes, and again, moving in sometimes, you leave that 2-8-10. It's probably in the back of his mind from match 1.
That one needs a little help. Oh,
I think he realized he needs to be deeper with his feet because the lane is drier, but he needs to send it to the friction to get it to recover. Whereas if you keep it tight in the oil, it's going to leave it 2-4-8-10.
So, well, Scott Holmes has got to make that adjustment off the Greek Church in the second frame.
Scott Helm, the second oldest bowler out here so far today at 42 years old. Good speed, great release, using another Storm virtual gravity.
Yeah. And you can see both Gale and Scott, they didn't get frustrated by their first shot. They just learned from it, got up again, threw a strike.
It's a sign of a good player. Bad shots happen. Everybody, professional athletes, they're going to throw an interception now and then, and the key is not letting it upset you and ruin your entire day. He caught hand. He caught hand and just enough hand to kick that 2.
So it looked like it kind of stuttered in the middle there, Joey. Like it got to the end of the pattern and said, I don't think so.
Right, and only Gale knows what went wrong on that shot. I mean, he may have let his elbow get out a little or just not quite caught maximum leverage off his fingers, and he's probably happy with 9 spare.
Yep. And with that spare, they're going to be behind by about 26 pins, and we'll be back for the second half of the semifinal match, the Wisconsin Championship Doubles, in just a moment. And we're back with the second half of the Wisconsin Championship Doubles. We have Jeff Rickles up on lane 70 here at Amen Calero. His team currently has a 26-pin lead, looking to extend it to 36 if he can get a turkey here. And first time we've seen him not slap that 10 out all day, Joey.
And Jeff kind of nodded his head. He kind of knew what he was going to get there. He kept it a little left of target, a little firm, and 9s happen. Again, a ball comes in a little late to the pocket. He'll make the spare. On Jeff's bio sheet, he'd like to thank his family member, Clifford, his dog.
So I know when Jeff get inducted in the Madison Bowling Association Hall of Fame this year, along with Mark Bedell, his teammate, he's one thing you want to make sure you thank this dog. It was a privilege to see Jeff and Mark's induction speeches, along with Gary Zuge. Right. He's done a lot of work on the Madison Bowling Association.
A dog is a family member without question. I mean, all right, let's see if Steve bounces back. He did flush strike last time up. Definitely not a good shot. It looked like he had a little approach problem there and kind of tugged it.
Yeah. Well, gets everything out, but the 3 pins. So nice break to get the 10 out, not leave a baby split. Really, there's so many bad breaks you can get when trying to make a baby split. Just catch the 3 and miss the 10. This is a nice easy single pin spare.
Steve using a ice storm for his spare attempt, even though he's been on the Rotogrip amateur staff since 2003. I'm sure he likes to thank everyone at Rotogrip for the products. Scotty Helm, a non-staffer, uses good equipment from all different manufacturers.
Yeah, I know when he won his first step ladder match, he was throwing Ebonite equipment. Today he's throwing Storm equipment. So he keeps his options.
A nice simple game for Scott. Again, doesn't give up the pocket much. Nice straight backswing, hand behind the ball. Very consistent speed without question. And he's got the long arms, the long span. Yeah. Makes the game a little easier.
I mean, he's proof that you don't need 22-mile-an-hour ball speed and 500 revs to score.
Right.
Keep it simple.
Our senior member at 43, Gail Myers.
Wow. Collapses the 4, 6, 7, 10.
Gail should be smiling a little more after that shot. I mean, he's coming back pretty serious looking, but, I mean, he knows he got away with possibly leaving the big 4 there. So, and Gail from Monroe, Wisconsin.
Just another one just south of the Madison area. So 57-300s for Gail.
One more than Jeff Rickles. He got it right. Okay, Carey is getting a little bit more tenuous than early in game 1, yes, when everything carried flush, and all of a sudden we see 4s, we see 7s, we see 10s.
Yeah, and we see the lanes transitioning quickly. It's not like if you watch it in league without a hold in the middle, where it takes a little while. This is no hold in the middle. As you move left, it's changing much quicker.
Well, exactly, and the bowlers have to chase the oil in to create length and possibly some subtle hold, and they know they have a little swing area right. But if the ball doesn't break at the right point, you're going to leave a spare.
Yeah. Well, Steve and Jeff's maximum score right now here is 236. So, strike here.
You can't throw it any better than that, Steve.
No. I mean, they maintain a 1-pin lead with that strike. Now, I mean, that strike right there was crucial, and no matter what they do the rest of the match, if they're only matched by Helm and Myers, they'll win.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott needs a strike here to keep his team within 1 pin.
Scott Helm from Hartford, Wisconsin. Little right of target.
Oh,
did not matter. Caught good hand. Ball turned over, did its job.
Can we get an ambulance to lane 70? Because I think that head pin's been just damaged beyond repair. That hit with a lot of power drive.
Well, this is a critical shot here for Gale. Foundation frame on a turkey. This really could put the pressure on the Riggles and Steve Ricker team, and he did not respond. Surprising.
It looked like he came over the top of that one just slightly, Joe.
Yeah, he armed it or helped it a little bit, and I'm sure Gale would definitely like overs on that one.
Yep.
And he'll try and convert the spare here. And keeps his teammates in the match.
Yeah. I mean, it's not over yet. You're only down by 3 pins, and
and he's happy to make that spare as well. That's a very choppable spare. 163 in the 8th.
And he's seen his USBC teammate and today his opponent, Jeff Rickles, he's seen in the last couple of shots. So 7, he struggled to carry.
If they don't strike here, it is a 3-pin match. If he strikes, naturally, it's 10 extra pins. Jeff a little left the target.
He's looking for it to hold.
Firm speed, though. He's trying to almost keep it a little tighter, it seems.
Yeah. I think he thought that one was going to sit up in the pocket nicely. So.
Well, you would think moving in the pattern, keeping your speed firm, not really coming around the ball, trying to stay behind it. You would think the ball wouldn't jump off the pattern. Again, he'll take 9 spare here and maintain a 3-pin lead.
Just tickles it down. So, well, right now, I mean, bingo, bango, and bongo, and Jeff and Steve can move to the finals here. I mean,
well, Steve's been in this position many times before in his career. He's the anchor bowler for a reason.
Yeah.
He has high flush the last couple on this lane, and this could lock them out.
Yeah. The first 2 and 8 pins is a winner. First one's off his hand nicely, loops in, slaps the 10.
That's the first. Okay, the re-rack on 7. Now we all know the first one is the easier of the 2, but Steve's been in this position before. We know. Sure, he'll take a nice deep breath and set himself and just let it flicker. He well knows this is the match, which gets him into the finals. Gets his ball positioned, elbow in tight. A little bit left.
Needs it to hold.
That was left off his hand, Phil, and slow. So he will convert the spare here for a 206 finish, leaving an opening for his opponents. 3-6 spare attempt. Count is somewhat irrelevant. No need for a spare ball. 206 for them, and again, Scotty knows what he has to do. He's thrown some pretty good shots here on this right lane here, Phil.
Yeah, he's struck every ball but the first frame. He left a Church made adjustment, and I think after that last shot, I think he knows he's got a little room right if he needs it to come back.
Well, again, Jeff Riggles made mention of that early in shadow balls. There was a little more room right than there was hold, and that's something we need to pay attention to on a pattern. That's a good shot.
Unbelievable. The paralyzing 5.
That was a good shot. Unfortunately, not a great shot. And
Wow.
9 out of 10 times, Phil, that carries, and the 5 was moved over a couple inches left of center.
The 2-pin and the ball hit that 5-pin at this, and you'll see it in the replay. It hits it at the same time and stands it back up.
Jeff and Steve feel pretty fortunate there.
No, if we didn't have it on tape, I wouldn't have believed it, Joey, because that was just incredibly
Well, a great
bad
match. A great match. A 4-pin victor.
Absolutely. And they're going to move on and take on Mark Clark and Greg Zika out of Illinois, another top seeds out of Illinois, similar to last year, Joey.
Yes, it is, and we've had some Illinois champions in the past, Phil.
Yes, indeed, and we'll talk about that at the beginning of the finals match here in the Wisconsin Championship doubles. We're going to let Scott Helm throw his last shot here, and it's going to give him an even 200 score. So 206 for Riggles and Steve Richter, and 201, I'm sorry, for Hellman Myers, and we'll be back with the last game here after a special event at the Hammer Championship doubles in just a moment.
As in-state coordinators, it's our responsibility to help introduce this program throughout the state of Wisconsin. As of right now, we've actually introduced it to more than 395 schools with a potential of over 100,000 students. In the city of Milwaukee itself, there are 109 different schools in the MPS system, of which we are in close to 80 of them for last season and hope to reach over 100 by the end of this year.
Basically, if you want to get started in the program, you would contact BCAW, and they would contact me, and therefore I would send to the school the curriculum, and the teachers would look it over. The Milwaukee schools, most of them already have it, and then I contact Ralph Krieger, who would deliver the equipment to them. It's usually done for a 3-week session. Some schools do, teachers do 2 different schools, so they can keep the equipment longer.
Okay, once the schools have the program in TAC, I will get a hold of them and set up a delivery date and time with the coordinator of the event, and then deliver all the products that are needed to the schools. I will also do the picking up. One thing that we want to stress also is that there is no cost involved to the schools or to the students.
I found that the equipment was extremely easy to use. It came in a nice bag, and the mats were all rolled up with the balls and pins in it. All you had to do was roll the mats out, set up the pins and the balls at the end of the lane, and we were ready to roll. I found it extremely easy for the kids to pick up the curriculum. We had the book that they had given us, had all the lessons in it, different cues that you can use as far as teaching the different lessons. It was extremely easy to use.
And we're here for a special event here at the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. We've got a special event that was held back in November, the Hall of Fame Youth Tournament, and it was run by our guest here, Shannon Lubinsky. And Shannon, a lot of teams you had this year, didn't you?
Yes, we had 34 teams this year, so we had a full tournament.
And the teams you're saying today were the winning teams from the tournament, first and second place. Steve Brinkman started off with a strike here today. And Dave Bartlett from Ebonite and Hammer is here to handle the commentary for the bowlers on the right lane. And Dave, who do we have starting off on lane 70 here at Bolero?
Starting on lane 70 tonight, we're going to have Eric Fritton. Eric's on the track staff. Left-hander, probably going to be your highest rev rate person you see throw the ball in this match. Fun to watch.
Looks a little right out of his hand. Everybody's starting with crossovers tonight.
Taking a page out of Steve's book there.
Now, Shannon, you had 34 doubles teams signed up. They were youth doubles teams, and then they were paired up with a Hall of Famer, correct?
Yes. Either a Hall of Fame member from the area or a local celebrity.
Okay. And one of the Hammer lady staffers, one of your teammates here, coming up on lane 70, Rochelle Mackey. Seen a lot of her on TV lately between the Badger Queens. We didn't see much of that at the Badger Queens, though. We saw a lot of strikes out of row that day.
Right.
And how many games did the teams bowl in qualifying then, Shannon?
They bowled 3 games of qualifying, and then we cut to the top 10 teams, and they bowled match play. And then we bowled the stepladder finals.
Looks like she's going to go and try to get 2 here. A little stick on the thumb and whiff them all. And Dave, they're not seeing double today, are they?
They're not. think Roxanne's going to change that here. Roxanne George up next here from Waukesha. Another Hammer staff member.
Nice and low at the line, brings it up, and big double for that team starting off, Dave. Oh, now we get our first peek at the youth bowlers, Shannon. And Tyler Wanke, his team, the second place team at your Hall of Fame tournament, correct?
Yes.
Him and you'll see Antonio in the fourth frame. Who were they paired up with at that tournament?
They were paired up with Hall of Fame member Scott Helm.
All right. And we'll see Scott bowling frame number 5 for the team on lane 69 here at AMF Bolero. Up, needs a little help staying on the lane. Up. And it happens. We've seen gutter balls in our shows before. Our first high school challenge match show, Tanner Marisol started off of a match with a gutter ball, and her team still came back to win. So there's nothing wrong with that yet. And most of these bowlers, it was a handicapped event, correct?
Yes.
So,
the junior bowlers bowled handicap, and the adults bowled scratch.
and the youth bowlers, they were all average ranges worth. You had 200 average bowlers, 115, 120 average bowlers, correct?
Right. The minimum average was 100.
Much better shot for Tyler there. All right, almost got it all the way back. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, and who do we got coming up next then, Dave?
Looks like we got Stephen Blake coming up next. Stephen wants to give a shout out to his dad for getting him into bowling and his mom for supporting his bowling.
Came all the way down from Oshkosh to bowl your tournament, Shannon. Wow, you really got bowlers from all over the area, didn't you? Now, Shannon, a special thing today because it is the top two teams from your tournament. What are the youth bowlers on the winning team going to receive today?
They're actually going to receive the Black Whittle spare balls that Roxanne George donated.
All right. Thanks, Roxanne. And all you Hammer ladies, I know you do a lot in the community. Antonio starts his team with a strike. First pocket strike we've seen on that side today for the team on lane 69. And our last youth bowler coming up, Dave?
Justin Weiss, again from Oshkosh, another one traveling down, making a trip to bowl the tournament. Wants to say hi to mom and dad and brother Tyler out there.
300.
See if he can turn this into a four-bagger for the team.
He's got a 300 game and an 810 series under his belt already. I think the bowlers in the first two matches at the Wisconsin Championship doubles here, Dave, could have learned something from everybody here.
I think these kids went to school, took a few notes while they were watching back there.
Yeah, and one of them they probably went to school off of. You're seeing him again, Scott Helm. So he had that bad break in the semifinal match, paralyzed at 5. Otherwise, you would have seen him in the final match coming up. But just gonna see if he can get a double for his team here. And he rolls it up nicely, gets it in. And our last Hall of Fame celebrity bowler here today,
John Bodish coming up right here from Milwaukee. Bowls out of Menominee Falls. Got a 300 game and an 833 for a high series. Started bowling at the age of 8.
Yeah, lots of people starting young nowadays and staying in the sport for a lifetime. And fire's out for that team, unfortunately. So there's a little pressure. I mean, Dave, I know, and Shannon, you both bowl a lot of Baker competition at your time. It's not easy being in that 5 spot in Baker.
No, you never want to be that one that's going to miss. That's for sure. You always have a little bit of pressure out there. You don't want to let your team down. I think John could cover this. So
1-3-7-9. Going to go relatively with just a little hook on it. Oh, and a bad break. And with that, we'll be back for the second half of this special match in just a moment. And we're back with the second half of this special event here at the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. Shannon Lubinsky and Dave Bartlett both sitting in with me today. And we've got Steve Brinkman up again on lane 69 here at Bolero. Started with a crossover strike for his team. And changes it up a little bit there. Shannon made a little move there and got in the pocket. And Shannon, what were the scholarship prizes that you paid out for the Hall of Fame tournament to the youth bowlers?
We paid out $500 to the first place team and $400 to the second place team, and we also had Hammer equipment that was given to the top 3 teams. We actually paid out the top 15 teams in the tournament.
Wow. And that's an amazing pay ratio, almost 1 and 2. And
Right.
I know you're looking to get this tournament bigger and better next year. You're going to have it in November of 2009 again?
Yes.
So, youth bowlers, make sure you look for that information. I know she'll have flyers out to all the youth coaches in the area. Look for it. I know Doug Schmidt was nice enough to run some information in the 10-Pin Journal as well for you. So, another great youth tournament. Outside the Hammer Youth Challenge Series, more for scratch bowlers. You run a great event for players of all averages and ages and abilities. So we're really, and with the great sponsorship we get from Hammer, Dave, I mean, you sponsor those events. What other events do you sponsor in the Midwest for youth bowling?
Well, we have the 10-Pin Journal tournament that we do here with the Wisconsin Championship doubles. We do that. We're also involved with the Wisconsin State Tournament on the Columbia side of things this year, so that's new for us. So we try to get out to pretty much anyone we can, and anything we can do to help build the sport and keep it going.
Yeah, and I know the Hammer Youth Challenge bowlers, I know they all appreciate the support that you and Jeff Russery, the head man down at Hammer, gives to our series, and I know Shannon, has nothing but nice things to say about you with all the support you've given her tournament as well. Well, is she gonna get a lucky roller there? Nope, gonna leave a 6. So Shannon, what's it like this year? Last year we got you down in the lanes, we had you beating up on the pro shop guys down there. A little different sitting in the booth this year?
Yeah, it's nice just commentating. Put the pressure on my teammates this year.
There you go. So, and a big night for your team last year, setting the women's all-time team game record. What was that record score? And where was it shot at?
We shot 13:31 at Riviera Lanes in West Dallas.
And who had the high game for that 13:31 game? Who was high in the team that game? You remember off the top of your head?
I believe it was Roxanne with a 289 game.
But, I mean, geez, the average, almost 250 a bowler for that game is just amazing. Well, Tyler makes a better shot than last time on that lane. Is he going to roll the 3? Not quite. So, it's a one-game match. This is a scratch event for the kids today, but the Hall of Fame, like you said, it was a handicap event for the kids. So, you had the bowlers like Tyler, who may be in the 130 to 140 average range, be absolutely competitive with the kids that are higher averages. So, parents, if your kids are just starting to bowl, look for this event next year. It's a great. I think it's a great tournament to have your first tournament event be for your children. Outside of, they may bowl the city tournament for youth and that type of thing, but you get a little different level of competition when you're paired up with an adult.
Right, and I think the adults were more nervous than the kids during the tournament. So.
Well, let's see what Stephen Blake can do here. Pretty decent rev right there, Dave, huh?
Yes, he's got a lot of potential there. Let's see him stick with this game. I think you'll be seeing him in the Wisconsin Championship doubles there if he stays with it.
I got to make sure to get him a youth challenge entry for our next tournament before he leaves today, too, Dave.
Absolutely.
Oh, Antonio's up again. He needs a little help rolling that 2-4 out, and he doesn't get a chance to do it. So, Antonio throwing that Black Widow out there today. He likes football, basketball, and tennis outside of bowling. Pretty active young man. So, and he wanted to thank all the coaches and bowlers at Olympic Lanes. Shannon, one of the coaches there, correct?
Yes, along with Steve Brinkman, who he's bowling with.
Get in there. And needs a little help, a little lucky bounce, not quite. So, even though there is a little bit of a, prize on the line here for the kids, really just want to put the spotlight on them and just, what a great job they did during the tournament, make it a bigger, better tournament next year for everybody. So, I mean, with an amazing pay ratio that you pulled off this year, we'll make it bigger and better. We hope to help you make it bigger and better next year, Shannon. A little bit of a weak 10 there, Dave, huh?
Yeah, a little flat there. This could make the match very interesting here.
Yes, indeed.
I know talking to some of the local bowlers around, heard nothing but praises about this tournament that Shannon put on. Lots of positive comments coming back. The kids enjoyed it. The adults even enjoyed it, getting out there bowling with the kids. Everyone said they had a great time doing it.
Oh, and as you said, it's now a little tight. Now it's going to be down to those Hall of Famers on the bottom.
Right.
Close it out for the team. And Shannon, you probably had more Hall of Famers and volunteers for this tournament than you probably had entries to do it. We got to fix that for you next year. I would, get some more youth bowlers in there and really get all these Hall of Famers out. That needs a little help and a little bit of a bucket there. Do you have a location chosen for the tournament next year yet, Shannon? Or?
I believe we'll be holding it at Olympic Lanes again next year.
So you could take a lot of teams for that tournament then. There's plenty of room there with
36 teams.
Yeah. So we will get you up full over top. Whatever we can do to help, just let me know. Looks like it's going to be a tough cover on that spare. There's more than one way to make a bucket. Scott just proved it right there. Kind of shaking his head laughing on the way back. So, Scott, a fine effort here today in the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. Fine effort in the Wisconsin Best Challenge Tournament. You'll see him in our Grand Championship Final coming up soon on Time Warner Cable Sports. And back-to-back buckets for him. I think he's glad the day's over now. Well, Lane 69 ends up with a 180 score. John Bodish needs a mark to win the match. You know, we never even thought about what we were going to do if they tied.
We'd have to rematch.
We have to rematch? We'll tape it all over again?
Yeah.
John, a little better quality shot. No, we don't have to worry about the tie. Takes us off the hook. So their maximum score will be 200. I'm sorry, 201 if he goes off the sheet. So, no, we got the final match coming up in the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. We're going to have Jeff Riggles and Steve Richter facing Greg Zicka and Mark Clark. And can't roll the 6-pin out. And with the way the scores have been today, Dave, it's going to be a heck of a shootout that last match, isn't it?
I think it's going to be a great match.
So, well, once again, Shannon, before you shoot the spare, thanks for all your hard work with that Hall of Fame tournament. I know the adults appreciate it. The kids really appreciate it. You can tell they're all pretty excited about coming back and bowling today. And, you know, next year, bigger and better things for you. So, thanks for sitting in, everybody, and we'll be back with the final match of the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer in just a couple of minutes. Welcome to New Berlin Entertainment Center. We invite you to see New Berlin's exciting entertainment complex. Come and enroll on one of New Berlin Bowl's 28 state-of-the-art lanes. We can host your bowling party or company outing. Looking for good times and great food? Stop into the New Berlin Ale House, open at 11 a.m. daily, with plenty of beverage variety and great food for you and your family, from pasta to sandwiches, pizza to steaks. Our roomy banquet facilities have plenty of parking and a helpful, friendly staff. Come see us soon at New Berlin Entertainment Center, where good food and fun is a brewin'. Set to go. All right, and we're here for the championship match. Hope you enjoyed a little special event there with the Hall of Fame tournament bowlers between the semifinals and the final here.
Steve, a past champion I see here from 1999 when it was bowled at Echo Bowl with Steve Brinkman.
Yeah, Hildebrandt's great proprietors at Echo Bowl. I know they're still active in the bowling community with the in-school bowling. You see that commercial on our shows from time to time. And along with Ralph Krieger from Krieger in the Falls, they do a lot of work for that in-school bowling program to get the kids involved.
Steve going for 3, taking 4. An extra pin could come in handy.
It's always a bonus when you can get 4 out of a great church.
We got our first look at Greg Zicka, 44-year-old player from Glen Ellen, Illinois, the 2001 USBC doubles champion and 2018 Mall Events champion. Rather impressive credentials.
Yes, indeed. I mean, all 4 of these guys here. I wouldn't want to bowl a Friday night pot games with them, let me tell you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and he's got a nice, simple game, and when I say simple, that is not derogatory.
Yeah.
That is a clean swing, clean hand through the ball, nothing fancy, less to go wrong.
Yeah, there's no muscling of anything from the push away to everything. It's just smooth, fluid, and you see that with so many quality players, Joe.
The way bowling is meant to be. A little quick off the hand, but again, out on spare, not a problem. 43 300s for Greg, by the way.
High series of 837.
And his partner, probably why he chose him as partner, also has 43 300s. So I'm sure he was looking for someone with equal credentials. High series of 855, somewhat higher than Greg's 837. And from Naperville, Illinois. So we have 2 flatlanders going against hometown boys. A little bit more hand from Mark, as you can see by the hook and the rev rate.
Yep. And he slaps that 10 out. So
And again, Jeff is he lives for these moments.
Oh, there's no doubt.
This is where it matters. This is the championship match. I mean, he's one of the top players ever in state and local and national competition. Not happy with the execution, but he does the little Richard Nixon gimme look
Victory.
at the end there and sit down and take it, and he's happy. He's happy. Yes.
I think he wants to be in the witness protection program after that shot.
I mean, he was expecting 6, and he got 10.
Showing the guys from the other team how it came off his hand.
Yeah.
They're all getting a little bit of a chuckle out of it. You know, they're friends off the lanes. There's no doubt about it. But the competition's here. Yeah. This is, you know, we're winning. We're taking this title. But afterwards, you're going to shake hands and probably have to sit down and have dinner with them or something. I know they were talking about that before the match.
Sure.
So.
Now, more importantly, there, Steve, on probably the tougher of the 2 lanes. I mean, the lane that is broken down significantly more than 70. For some reason, we will have to ask Mr. Roy Brent.
Yeah.
It's just characteristic of bowling lanes. They don't break down comparatively. He moved in rather deep and dead flush for the double.
Well, Greg up lane 70 and pitch out with nobody running.
No, and that surprised me. He's pretty square to the line. Doesn't have a huge launch angle. Keeps the ball pretty straight through the front part of the lane.
Yeah, we saw Dave Barras in an earlier match just kind of get one a little too far right and hang.
Right, and that could be a timing issue, but you would still think at this level it's not going to happen too often.
No. Well, Greg was shooting the spear on the side of his mom, Joan, and his brothers, Ron, John, and Mike. And a lot of everybody bowlers and dogs must go together because he's got a dog named Rue that he wants to say hi to.
And Mark's dog, Lucy.
Yeah. His wife, Christy, as well, wanted to make sure we said hi to her. So, Mark's other interests outside of bowling. A little cold this time of the year, but he gets to go. He likes to golf. So.
All right, Mark he has 2 balls of choice, a T-Road solid or a cell, both with the pin below the fingers. Let's see if I can decipher which ones he's using. It appears to be the T-Road. And again, he kind of horsed that one a little bit, or stuck a little at the line, and when you do that, you lose leverage and the ball will not recover.
Yeah. Well, Mark, today also want to thank Pete Spreadberry for help with ball selection, his mental game with mental focus, along with Tony Jordan and DJ Hayes for game mechanic fixes. I mean, a lot of that's some quality names in Illinois right there.
And don't forget, he wants to thank Greg Zicka for waking up today. Evidently, he has a tendency to oversleep.
Yeah, a little struggle early on, maybe.
A backup ball release, if you notice that. He tried to get a little left to right hook there to convert that spare, which is reasonably impossible.
Yeah. So what do you think, Joey? First 4 frames here, and out of Mark and Greg, and just
I think these are the feel out. These are the feel out frames, Phil. I think we're going to see the nitty gritty in the last 4 or 5 frames, and
looks
Jeff
pretty clean up. Jeff's
moving in, a great shot. Jeff came around that and played the lane the way the lane should be played. If you remember in the earlier match, he tried to stay a little more direct.
Yeah.
With the ball, a little more end over end roll, and here he bumped in and kind of circled it a little bit.
Yes, indeed.
A good adjustment.
Well, Steve trying to get that team 4 in a row going here.
You know, he had high flush on this lane last time out. Steve will probably bump in a half a board to a board more as not to go high.
You know, it looks like his feet were a board left there, Joey, on the approach, looking from his last one. And it's a little bit of a hang spot
and again, he may not have been happy with the execution, but I think he made the right move on the lane. You don't want to go through the heart again, especially on that lane, reading early at times.
Yeah, I mean, 9 spares a heck of a lot better than Greek Church like he had the first frame, no doubt.
I mean, it'd be nice to get the 4-bagger, but Turkey 9 spare, I think they'll be happy with at the midway point. Steve staying with his strike ball. And again, spare balls are nice when you need to use them, but you don't always need to use them.
No. And we'll be right back with the second half of this Wisconsin's championship double final in just a moment. And we're back with the second half of the final match here at the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. We've got Greg up on lane 70.
Left a 1-2-4-8 last time on this lane, and he does not have a great look. It appears as though he's a little deep inside the pattern, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched the players that have played lane 70 earlier today. trusted a little bit to the right. Even a straighter player, Scott Helm, I mean, was definitely a little bit further.
He was almost an arrow right to where Greg is playing.
So, well, right now, his 9 spare is really huge. I mean, it keeps him within 25 pins on the match. We've seen it before. That can change with a 3-bagger. We've seen it all day today, back and forth.
Well, that's it. Bowlers of this quality, they don't get here by luck.
No, absolutely. I mean, if we
they led the tournament, Phil, and for good reason. They know how to read lanes. They move lanes each game.
Yeah, and good communication as teammates.
And most top players, individuals, doubles, doesn't matter. I mean, your best part of the game is the second half of the game.
Now let's see what Mark Clark can do up here on lane 69. Looks pretty solid off his hand. It's
pretty good shot. Pretty good shot by Mark. And again, on the tougher lane. And he's not quite as deep as Steve, but a little bit more speed. All right, Jeff wants to help out the cause here and catch the 1-bagger. Can't get a double unless you get the 1-bagger first.
Exactly.
Came around it nice.
Needs to slap that. Wow.
And a double bad break in one shot.
I said it needed to slap it. I really thought it was just going to be a 10-pin when it got to the pocket, Joey. It looked like it just came a little late into the hole.
Yeah, and again, only Jeff knows how well his hand cleared the ball there, or if his elbow bumped out a little bit. Normally there's a reason a 7-10 stands, and it's not a good feeling. He'll take one, hopefully, and he doesn't.
All right, well, we'll get that score corrected, Joey. We'll let you handle things here for a moment.
All right, Phil. All right, Jeff wants to naturally forget about that frame, and I mean, bad shots happen. His partner Steve up on the left lane. Steve last time on this lane left a 9 count.
Left a 2-pin, a little bit
the
of a
2-pin light. You're correct. A better shot, and not a good result, but a better shot. And he was dead flush. And again, as lanes transition, Phil. And what we mean by transition is the oil changes on the lane. The mid lane can become drier, the back ends can become tighter, and all of a sudden you lose that gorgeous look you had in practice.
Yeah, and with almost 3 games, well, and more than 3 games of Peace Bowl on it, with the practice balls that each player receives before each match starts, there's definitely a good chunk of change going on.
Right, and it's hard to make ball changes in a 1-game match. You only get 5 shots each. And it's a big gamble. You don't want to make a ball change and leave a 5-count split or 6-count split instead of a 9 spare.
Yeah.
So again, here we are. We're at the nitty-gritty part of the match.
No, a strike here by
Did
Mark.
Greg move right? Yes, he did.
Yeah. It's an 11-pin lead now for Mark and Greg.
Great shot, and it was a huge double. Huge double. Score sheet said D-O-B-L-E, and that's one way to spell it.
So, I think they accidentally put the scoring in Spanish on there today, Joey.
We are a multilingual country.
Yes, we are.
All right, this could be huge for victory here. And again, I'm sure he's well aware of it, since their opponents are struggling somewhat. Good shot off the hand, and a beautiful shot. And again, a turkey in a 1-game match is huge.
Yeah, 21-pin lead now for the team of Mark Clark and Greg Zicka. So, striking is a must at this point in time.
Now, speaking with the tournament director, Doug Schmidt, Jeff hasn't bowled this tournament too often.
A lot of years he was out in Reno bowling the National Resident Pro Tournament.
Oh, it was a pretty shot.
Year to year. It was always held the first week of December. This year's the first year in probably 19 or 20 years he didn't receive the automatic berth, and he decided he's going to join his friends out there for a little R&R, recreation, and relaxation.
Now, Jeff did his thing. He struck in the 8th, and notice he's finishing in the 10th this game. Evidently they decided, or did his opponents decide, that he can finish on the easier of the 2 lanes?
Well, Mark and Greg had late choice on who to start. We've seen Steve and Jeff bowling their respective lanes all day. Mark and Greg wanted to finish first and put the pressure on Jeff when he got up there if it needed to be.
Oh, that was a huge double. Never say die.
That's right.
Huge double. Gets him back in the match, and we'll see if it affects Greg.
Yeah, I mean, max score right now for Greg and Mark is 233, if my math is correct. Max score.
Looks close.
Max score for Jeff and Steve, 224. it's anybody's game
So
again.
it's again with 2 frames to go. It's pretty much whoever doesn't carry. And this is a huge frame right here. It's a 21-pin loss of pins if you don't strike. A little left to target.
High hard one.
High
It's
hard.
a call.
Don't give up the pocket.
That's right. It's one thing. If you need to make that shot, you want to make sure you square up on the left side of that 3-pin.
You know, and we have 2 contrasting styles here with this team from Illinois. You know, a high hard straight player, great player, and a little softer, more-handed hook player.
Yeah, and we saw it last year with Will Swanson and Joe Conrad from Illinois in the final match. They didn't have much success, but we saw a very high rev rate player in Joe and a very straight direct player with Will.
All right, this is it, Phil. This is basically the tournament right here. It does not look bad off the hand, and a great shot. And he carried the 10 off the wall exactly the same in the previous frame.
Yes,
The
indeed.
6-pin off the sideboard into the 10. He needs this to lock him out, I believe, Phil.
This and count. This and 2 pins will lock him out.
This
so.
and count. Jeff and Steve right now talking about, boy, this should be best of 3.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Well, and Jeff got the just terrible bad break on that 7-10 in the 6th frame. I mean, that was we've seen a couple of bad breaks today. Scott Helm and Gail Myers could have won that match against Jeff and Steve.
Paralyzed
in the semifinals.
5-pin, yeah.
So bowling is a game of breaks, and sometimes we don't remember the good ones. We only remember the bad ones.
Well, that's it. And as we know, life's not fair. Why would bowling be?
This is for the championship. Oh,
He threw it good, Phil. He threw it
Yep.
good. And granted, it wasn't high flush, but
Yep.
I think 2 pins is pretty much a given here.
Yeah, this one now, just chuck it up the middle and stay behind the foul line.
And it looks as though he will stay with his strike ball and just go for the head pin. He's asking us what he needs, and we're not allowed to say.
Any craps. Jeff Rickles trying to be funny. He goes, any craps, he needs a 2. So 2 or a 3 will work. Right down the middle with the spare ball, and gets 10 anyway.
Who needs resin when you can strike with the spare ball from the left side of the lane?
Everybody's striking with spare balls today. Yep. So we're going to let Jeff finish this out on lane 70. I mean, heck of an effort. They ran the ladder almost. I mean,
You know, and again, we can look back at where it was lost, and you got to admit the team from Illinois, they responded when they needed to, and they made quality shots in the last half of the game, Phil.
Exactly. I mean, you know, the tide turner, the pocket 7-10 in the 6th frame by Jeff, and
Without
they
a
wasted
doubt.
no time jumping on it. 7, 8, 9, and 10, right off the sheet for Greg and Mark. So.
Well, they spared in the 7th, and then struck 8th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
And Jeff just going through the motions here, finishing up, and they fall easy now. They fall easy now, Phil.
So, but they're still going to take home a nice prize for 2nd place, $3,000, a new record this year, 94 teams, new record this year for that. Everybody strikes with plastic.
That's 3 out of 3 with plastic.
All right, we're going to come back, Joey. We'll wrap this up in just a couple of minutes here with the finals of the Wisconsin Championship Doubles presented by Hammer. Joey, thanks again for all your help.
Thank you, Phil. My pleasure being here.
And we'll be back.